I feel like I look like a Cheeto. I don't know what happened. I didn't change anything. I think it's that I don't know how to record this time of day. Does this help? Okay, that's not normal. Back to my normal color. I think I'll be a Cheeto today. We're talking about a red Pokemon. I'm Cheeto guy. Hello. So there I was. I've covered the other two birdies already, okay? And it's time to talk about, oh my god, shiny Galarian Moltres is incredible. Wait, I just saw that. That's actually an incredible design. I love this. Honestly, like, I don't really care about shinies that much. In general, like, some Pokemon I really like them on. Most of the time I'm indifferent. But these are incredible shiny designs. Like, truly, truly amazing. So, what was I saying? We're talking about Moltres. So Galarian Moltres was released. I've heard mixed things about this Pokemon. I think some people think it's going to be good. Some people think it's going to be bad. I want to give you my opinion in this video. So we're talking about Moltres. Pretty straightforward. Like, it's the third of the legendary birds that were returning in Galar. It's a little loud. Third of the legendary birds that are, I guess, returning, getting new forms in Galar. Really interesting, like, rework of the Pokemon. First things first, typing. Dark and Flying, right? Dark Flying is interesting. I like Dark Flying as typing. I have used Yveltal before. I like Yveltal. It's really bad against Fairy. It's got weaknesses to Electric and Rock. But other than that, there's not that many. Am I missing any? Fairy, Electric, Rock, Electric. Oh, Ice, of course. Yeah, and then that's kind of it, right? Fairy, Electric, Rock, Ice. So 4 weaknesses, not too bad at all. Some nice resistances: resist Grass, neutral to Fighting, immune to Ground, resist Ghost. Neutral to Bug. So Flying actually does end up covering a couple of the weaknesses of Dark, which is nice, such as Fighting and Bug. So it's not bad typing at all. And it gets this really, really neat ability, Berserk, which previously was only present on Dragon Grandpa. So Berserk we're going to talk about a little more at length, but that's the first thing. Next thing is we'll look at the stats. Base 90, so it's not too fast. I believe Articuno's 95 and Zapdos 100. 90 is not great, I'll be honest. It's not horrible. It's just not phenomenal either. However, the really interesting thing for me, at least, is that they reworked the stats in a weird way. So they took 15 out of attack and 25 out of special attack and buffed special defense by 30. Which is just a little weird. Like, it looks like the overall... Oh, by 40. Wait, did I counted wrong? Yeah, 85 plus 40 is 125. So they gave it 40 more special defense. Meaning its stats are actually really similar to original Articuno's stats, if I'm not mistaken, with 125 base special defense, 90 HP, and 90 defense. This Pokemon's surprisingly bulky. Additionally, it actually makes some sense that they took it out of special attack, given that, like, 100 is not terrible if you fully invest in it. It's not good, but it's not terrible. But the interesting thing is that Berserk, obviously, the way the ability works is that once you fall below half health, you gain a special attack boost of 1 stage. Now, there's a couple things you can do that, like, really abuse this, in my opinion, which we'll talk about. Like, this Pokemon has, out of all the Pokemon, has, like, a lot of room for some neat innovation, in my opinion. So we're just going to do this preemptively. Pull this up. So yeah, let's take a look at the moves, because it gets some cool stuff. So, Ancient Power, you're probably not going to run, realistically. This is a special attacker, but it does get Sucker Punch. Air Slash, after you, is a good support move, maybe if you want to run a Scarf set. It gets Fiery Wrath. So I saw people saying this move was bad. You're wrong. This is what? This hits both targets, right? Yeah, I believe this hits both targets. Hang on. I'm fairly certain this is, yeah, it hits both targets, right? It has a 20% chance to flinch. So this is just like a Rock Slide where you trade 10 accuracy for 10 chance of happening. To be clear, if you hit both, if you use this move when you move first, your odds of hitting this your odds of flinching at least one Pokemon are 36%, because the odds of dodging both are 0.8 times 0.8, which is 0.64, which is 1 minus 0.64 is 0.36. So you have a 36% chance, if you move first, of flinching one of their Pokemon, which is very high for a no drawback move that never misses. This is a very, very, very strong move, and frankly, the reason why you want to run this thing as a special attacker is because of Fiery Wrath. Nasty Plot, again, this Pokemon is bulky, so you might actually be able to use Nasty Plot with it. Hurricane, a great special attacking move. You also have Air Slash for no drawback version of that. Memento is a decent support move. Well, it's a weird support move that has some niche use cases. Let's look at the TMs and TRs. It gets Rest, but not Roost, which isn't phenomenal. If it got Roost, that'd be really good for it, but it might be too powerful. It gets Imprison, which is weird. You're probably not running Imprison on this thing, but you do have the option. U-Turn, Snarl is a good support move. It does not get Mystical Fire. It does not get, yeah, any fire moves, I think. Let's see. Does not get Heat Wave. Doesn't get Shadow Ball. Alright. Taunt is always going to be a good option. Taunt is a great move. Dark Pulse. Brave Bird, Nasty Plot, Foul Play. And unfortunately, like, I think I said this on stream, but if it got one of these two moves, that'd be really good. Like, if it could burn opponents, that'd be super good, but yeah. So this thing is basically, like, its move pool isn't super deep, but I think that it doesn't need to be, like, a super deep move pool for it to be good. So, talking about the strengths of this Pokemon, Berserk is a phenomenal ability. I think there's two ways you do this. I think you either try to abuse Berserk specifically, or I think that you try and just have Berserk be a little bonus that you get with Moltres. So, I think there's a couple things you can do with this thing. In general, because of the way that stats are trained, I think that you pretty much are going to want this thing to be, like, okay, so here's kind of what most people would probably do with this. Something like this. Maybe you run Life Orb, and maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to Dynamax this thing, protect Hurricane, Dark Pulse, or Burning, Fiery Wrath. And then, in terms of coverage is actually kind of bad. I think it's got the worst coverage of the three. Max Strike, you can run Max Phantasm, Max Rockfall is pretty bad. Only regular Moltres gets Max Quake. Yeah, it doesn't get Steel Spike, physical. Yeah, honestly, you probably run dual Dark move here. This is probably like what some people would do is kind of the default set, but I think there's actually a lot of interesting things you could do with Moltres that aren't so straightforward. Like I mentioned, like the stats really make it want to be bulky. So I think one thing you could do is, and this might be bad, but the first thing that I'm going to try and do with this thing is protect sub leftovers with Berserk. And then either Air Slash or Hurricane, your choice. By making this thing, like, I think there's a couple ways you could do this, but I think what you could do is, like, make it bulky. And the idea is, the way that Berserk works is it's not like Phalanx, which is, like, once per game. It's every time you fall below half health. So, what that means, in other words, is that if, let's say you had a way to fall below half health and then go above half health, then you would be able to activate Berserk again if you went below half health. So, sub leftovers is one way where, like, it's not super consistent, but, like, it's basically, like, imagine that you could get multiple special attack boosts, like, with Berserk, like, per game, right? Because if you got Moltres to +2, like, it should always get to +1, right? So if you can get it to +2 somehow, actually, maybe you don't need the bulk. Maybe you do this. And just say, alright, like, yeah, wait, this is actually kind of heat, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if it's faster than Pokemon, it can sub in front of them, and, like, I think this thing is actually super legit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think, like, a set like this, like, I don't know if this is the right set, but, like, I think if you can, I think it should be relatively consistent, or, like, at least possible that you can get Moltres to above, or to 2 boosts, right? 2 special attack boosts, and then it's actually very powerful. So I think this thing could actually be a Pokemon in my opinion. This is a little bit like of a niche set. I don't know if it would work too well, but like this is the first place that I'll start when I try to build with this Pokemon. In terms of other things you can do, yeah, items are a little weird. I think Citrus Berry could also work. Protect Taunt is another thing if you want to do like, right? Like I think you probably you can also invest more in bulk than these sets are doing. But yeah, like I think because its natural bulk is pretty good, maybe Wakanberry. I wonder if you can live Regieleki stuff without Wakanberry. The real issue here is it doesn't get Tailwind. Like if it got Tailwind, then you could do like Tailwind. Let's see, that's not what I wanted. If you got Tailwind, it would definitely open up like some room for like being slower. But it's just awkward because like it feels like it wants to be moving first because of the it's Fiery Wrath or whatever the move is called. Okay, so you can Eevee to survive this. Huh. Wait, what am I doing? Yeah, so like, you can also run a bulky set, for example. Something like this is already going to live Regieleki Modest Thunderbolt. So, I like it. Will at least survive a hit. The issue is like the moves, right? Because you don't really have... It's just tricky. You don't have speed control. That's like the main issue here. I didn't really go in depth on it, but you can also run Snarl as a last move. Like basically, I think you're always running Protect. I think you're always running Flying move, and then I think you always run Dark move. At least one Dark move, maybe 2, because Fire Wrath is a lot weaker. Because it's a spread move. Spread moves are a lot weaker in double. So like even though Dark Pulse is 10 base power lower, it's actually maybe it's hang on. This is a 92.75. This is a 67 base power move, and this is an 80 base power move. Maybe we need Dark Pulse. You might not even need it. You could also... Man, there's so many options. So you can be super bulky, protect, flying move. I'm using Hurricane. You can use Air Slash, Dark move, and then +1, right? Nasty Plot is probably bad, but, like, Nasty Plot's an option. Snarl is an option. It would be really nice if this were Tailwind. It'd be really nice if that were Tailwind, but yeah. And then, like, item of your choice. I think a healing item is typically going to be good, but you don't have to do it. I don't think you're normally going to want Focus Sash on this thing, but you can. Yeah. You could also do, like, a mixed attacker if you wanted. What's his base attack? 85. Like, you could run Sucker Punch in the last one for priority, I guess. Like, it's just the stats don't really... Like, the attack stat is its lowest base stat, so it doesn't really make sense, in my opinion, to run a set like this. Basically, I think what I'm saying is that this isn't a phenomenal Pokemon overall. I don't expect it to be super, like, widely used in the metagame, but I think that, like, it probably has a role that it can fill, and I think that it probably can be strong in the right circumstances. Like, if you could... A set like this, I think, could be really strong, given you can, like, find a way to get speed control up. Because Substitute is not easy for a lot of Pokemon to deal with, and if you can waste opponents' max moves by having them attack your Substitute, that's good. And then Moltres, of course, because the added benefit where, like, number one, it can use Substitute to, like, take less damage and proc its own Berserk, but number two, it can also use it to activate Berserk multiple times, like sub-protect, and then, yeah. Like, if Moltres is faster than a Pokemon in a 1 versus 1, it should always win, I think. So, yeah. So that's kind of my impressions of Moltres. I think it's going to be difficult to use, but I don't think that means it's unusable. It's just, it's a weird Pokemon. And maybe, like, there are things that I'm missing where, like, which can be good, but, yeah, I think of the three, it's the weakest. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's, like, unusable or anything. So if you want to use Moltres, I say go for it. Like, find a way to abuse Berserk. That's my advice, because that's where I'll be looking first. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know which Pokemon to cover next. I haven't decided yet, so... you can let me know in the comments down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next video. Goodbye.